of all, attacking the media. What I saw, he says, was sometimes we all agree and disagree. We had an honest conversation. Nobody is suggesting that within an administration, within a national security team, there should not be conversations about big decisions that are being made. That was not the question at hand. Talk to me about where the administration is right now on this controversy that won't go away, no matter how much they want to point the finger at what they see as an American media obsessed with the story.
Right. And you saw it in the frustration upon the question being asked of him saying, we have heard now several responses when it comes to Greenland specifically. Now I want to ask you about what J.D. Vance referred to as Signalgate. And that is where you saw him articulate that the mission that they were discussing on Signal went as executed. And this, for this administration, is, at this point, it's not a defense necessarily, but it's the best pivot you can make, understanding that even Republicans on Capitol Hill are calling out the administration and suggesting inquiries and a better understanding of how confidential and classified information is shared among top cabinet officials is executed upon. And I think that that is where you saw here Michael Waltz, a national security advisor who was announced to be going on this trip before the story in the Atlantic broke the other day. He still went on this trip showing solidarity and standing behind the national security advisor. But this is an administration in which you have watched these top cabinet officials now 2 months in effectively, for the most part, stand in solidarity with one another. There were serious questions about what the second Trump administration and how their cabinet officials would handle these tense circumstances. And this particularly has been one in which it has been very clear cut that there were indiscretions and there were missteps that were made in the handling of this sensitive material.
Let me go now to retired Air Force fighter pilot Major Anthony Bork. Major, thank you so much for being with us. And I know you've been waiting while we were listening to what was being said by the Vice President of the United States. There are a number of people who have been expressing concern within the military community about exactly what happened and whether or not that, in fact, put lives at danger, particularly possibly pilots' lives at danger. I wonder what your first reaction was when you heard that, first of all, this chat was being done on a commercial, unsecured chat, and also that a journalist was a part of it.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I was interviewed by the New York Times yesterday on this exact subject. And since that time, I've had at least 10 military friends, former military friends, who reached out and said, my gosh, you know, had I done something like that when I was flying F-18s or flying F-16s or serving in the special forces, not only would I have ended up in jail, I would have been stripped of my rank, probably kicked out of the military. So the idea to most of us who have served in the military of, you know, talking about classified information on non-secure channels and risking the lives or the safety of our men and women in uniform who are out there on the pointy end of the spear is really surprising to me, and I think surprising to almost everyone that's worn the uniform.
Is there any doubt in your mind that what you read in what has been published, and which has been, in fact, affirmed by officials in the Trump administration, was indeed classified information? And do you believe the Signal chat could have put the lives of service members in danger?
You know, I am not a IT or cybersecurity expert. I know a couple things. One, I can download Signal today for free on the internet. And while I think it's probably fairly secure, I think our adversaries have developed some very effective means for hacking into different systems. I also think when you're talking about using personal cell phones, we know for a fact that there's technology out there that can hack your cell phone without you clicking on a link, and can, you know, read everything you write, can hear everything you say, can use